nobody's job is ever secure. You're never going to be replaced by generative AI. You're always going to be replaced by somebody who knows this technology better than you. Education should provide the ability for the students to question. Unfortunately, that is exactly the opposite our current education system. Even now we have a lot of remote calls. There are times people schedule calls during the lunchtime. One of my team member had a call, but then she had to feed her daughter at that point of time. After a lot of struggle, she told that, saying, guys, can we shift that? Because she was always missing the team meeting. And it was perceived as, oh, this person is not. Organization needs to understand women probably at their home do not have that support system, and we should be able to provide that support system. Mediocrity is never okay. Never okay.
So how do I lift myself out of that pit of mediocrity?
Difficult thing to say, but find the other friends. First, you need to be a leader in your team. You need to be helping others. You're not only taking care of your job, but you need to own things. Team always wins. So I truly believe in that. You work hard, party harder.
Welcome to this episode of Socho Aur Seekho Saga. My name is Manish. I am Chief of Staff at Contentstack. आज का दिन बहुत ही स्पेशल है क्योंकि आज ये साल का पहला एपिसोड है और आज मेरे साथ एक बहुत ही स्पेशल गेस्ट हैं. His name is Vasu. He is General Manager and Leader of Engineering at Contentstack. He is also one of my favorite people. He is an alumnus of IIT Kharagpur. He is known for engineering-led innovation, building high-performance teams, and creating high impact. I'm so fortunate to have him here. Welcome to Socho Aur Seekho Saga, Vasu. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me. I hope you can ask me all the tough questions, whatever you want to ask.
For sure,
me.
Vasu. I'm not going to spare you.
Yeah.
Since I said you are one of my favorite people, so I have learned a lot from you. And I often say this, that I wish I had met you 10 years ago and our outcomes would have been so much different.
Thank you. That means a lot, actually. That means a lot for me. I respect all the things that you do, and coming from you means a lot. Thank you.
So Vasu, शुरू से शुरू करते हैं. आपके बचपन से शुरू करते हैं.
ठीक है.
आप कैसे थे बचपन में? आप हमेशा ऐसे ही थे, पढ़ाकू, स्ट्रिक्ट और हमेशा एकेडमिक टाइप थे?
बहुत. I was very, 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 very studious. इतना कि my parents used to give me money, not just for going to a movie, twice the money, so that I could actually go to the movie. So, school, घर, पढ़ाई. School, घर, पढ़ाई. My mom used to ask my friends to come home and take me out so that I could actually play. So, इतना पढ़ाई करता था मैं. In fact, actually, even when I used to get fever, मैं पढ़ाई करता था. Okay? So, I was always very, very studious. Yeah.
But tell me more about being studious. Were you not? Were you very fascinated by the books around you, or were you not fascinated by the things that other kids did, like playing out? Or
no, I
reading
also
comics?
played. It is not like I did not play. I did not play. I did play. I come from a very, very humble background. Something in me, right from my childhood, whoever I've seen in good position and all well and everything, one thing that struck me among all of them, actually, they were very well educated. And since then, right from my childhood, I said, this is the key. This is the key if we need to make a difference in our the standard of living and the way we do anything, right? have a good life and take care of your family and all that. I said, education is the key. That's the only key. My family comes from a business background and everything. So for me, I always looked up to these people who were highly educated. There was one of my relative who was a professor, and on my dad's side, there was another uncle of mine who was well educated, and they were very well respected in all our family circles. Maybe those two people inspired, and anybody that I saw who I said like, wow, these guys are very good. The one common thread was always education. They were well educated. So I said, this is it. So I worked. So I said, I have to study very hard, very hard, very hard. That's probably that is the thing actually. So I always remember studying very, very hard actually.
That's very interesting. So
Long hours, not just hard, long hours.
So when it is said about very padhaku people, 18 hours a day, were you one of those people?
Oh, absolutely. I was absolutely one of those students actually.
So Vasu, on this podcast, typically we have majority of our audience is individuals who are early career students. So in this time and age today, right, where we have access to information, there is this distinct democratization of education where you no longer need to go to elite universities like IITs and elsewhere for that matter.
Correct.
So what do you think would be your message? Because sometimes individuals have started believing that 18 hours of studies, those are the things that people used to do 20 years ago. This is not needed anymore.
Totally agree. By the way, the reason I used to study 18 hours a day is, or not 18 hours, I used to study a lot. To make up for some things, you put in a lot more effort if you don't not have that skill. So I strongly believe, very, very strongly believe, skill is something that you can develop over a period of time. If you do something, practice makes you better and better and better. And that's exactly something with the studies as well. If you keep studying, what you could grasp in 4 hours earlier, over a period of time, you'll be able to learn the similar topic in 2 hours, and over a period of time, 1 hour. It's just that, right?
It's like a muscle that you work
but if
on.
Even if you get better with 1 hour, what you were doing 4 hours, but if you still do 4 hours, imagine how much more you can learn. You got better, but you still put in 4 hours actually. Right?
So Vasu, this whole question of smart work versus hard work, what's your
You'll
take on
get
that?
you'll get
Smarter.
You'll get smarter. You'll become smarter and smarter and smarter. And then the other question about going to the elite institutes. Sure. I mean, since I went to IIT, I have a bias kind of a thing for IITs. But I can also tell you, it is not actually the IIT brand thing. It is the students that you mingle with, which actually makes you better. There are good professors, no doubt about it, but it is not necessarily the professors. It is the company that you have. That's what makes it better. It is exactly the same thing for us in any company. The people that you work with will elevate you to the next level.
Correct.
And that is the only reason why IITs are preferred for many, because a lot of students who come there worked hard, they're smart, they cracked their exams and everything. And when you are in that company, it automatically takes you to the next level if you want to do it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, not everybody who goes to IIT would turn out exactly the same way, right? But a large percentage of people who go to IIT get to a better state.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is all it is actually. But
agree.
Technically you can be better than anybody who goes to IIT as well, because now the knowledge is available on YouTube, everywhere it is there. But you need to work hard. There is no shortcut to that actually.
Yeah. But I agree to your point when you say that the quality of the students. I have always believed that your outcomes in life are dependent on the 5 people you hang out with. You are basically the average of 5 people you hang out with. So if you hang out with top performers, uh, individuals who really believe in working hard, your outcomes are automatically going to be better than somebody who is very average, who is not willing to work hard, right?
I'll extend that a little bit more actually. The 5 people that you hang out with, the rest of the 5 are also hanging out with you for the same reason. It is not just you want to hang out with those best people. The rest of the guys are also hanging out with each other. All the 5 are like minded. Usually, that's what happens in most of the cases. You look at any friend circle or anything, their thoughts are similar, they like the similar things, they want to do the similar kind of things. So, like minded usually come together in a normal things. So, there is a saying, if you want to know about this person, look at that person's friends.
Yeah.
Then you'll know about this
Correct.
guy, right? So, exactly the same thing. It is not just about the 5 friends who make you better, but those 5 friends are also hanging out with you because they also want to get better.
Correct. And recently I've heard you say that mediocrity is not okay.
Absolutely. Mediocrity is never okay. Never okay.
So if I am an average person and all of my friends are also average, how do I lift myself out of that pit of mediocrity?
Difficult thing to say, but find the other friends. Yeah.
Sure.
Find the other friends or motivate them, saying, guys, we need to get better. Be candid. They're your friends. Be candid and then do it. And there's another thing about mediocrity. A lot of people who are mediocre, they accept the mediocrity. They accept
Yes.
the current state of things and they say, oh, this is what it is. And people find reasons why it is that. It is not okay. Absolutely not okay.
Even when you know that you are mediocre, you are not doing nothing to come out of it.
A lot of times that's what happens actually. You will
Yeah.
find reasons to be there. Oh, I didn't get that opportunity. I didn't get this opportunity. Everybody has the opportunity all the time.
So this section is going to be about Vasu's professional journey. So I want to understand what has your journey been like, what you did early on, what you did in the middle of your career, what you have been doing now. Has anything changed over the years? And what will be your advice to early career individuals who are just starting out?
So let me say this actually. I've been extremely fortunate throughout my career with my bosses, whoever I was reporting to, and everything, and my teams, and all these, the circumstances around me. Somehow, I feel born lucky. A lot of times, actually, when I ask myself, what did I do to deserve something that just happened to me, actually? Yeah. And maybe I was also a good student. I was learning and everything. So maybe that's the reason all those things has happened to me as well. Very early in my career, one of my managers taught me a lot of things. And I used to work hard, just like I used to study. I used to work hard. So he taught me a lot of things. He used to give me a lot more things. He sensitized me about a lot of other aspects beyond work as well. Did he have to do it? Maybe that's part of the manager role. And he was a good manager. I was fortunate to have him as for initially. And then later I had another manager who I'm one of the driver guy, not laid back. I was never that way. And then she knew how to tailor, get my work in a channel way, but still not lose the aggression. Because when a manager is very, very aggressive, you might drive your team insane. So very early in my career, my manager taught me that I can be aggressive, but still not drive my team insane. The expectation setting and making sure that they deliver everything, all those things are subtle things. You need to have a right mentor. And I was very fortunate to have at Software AG, her name is Padma. Even prior to that, I worked with her for a longer period of time. And then another manager, another manager. Somehow I was very, very fortunate having those kind of things.
So let
That
us take a few steps back. So let us start your journey as an individual contributor first. We have been discussing the whole individual contributor and managerial path, but everybody, when they start their careers, they start as individual contributors. They bring on board a certain skill
absolutely.
set, and then they are expected to navigate the journey. And unlike schooling, where there is a set curriculum, in the corporate career, every organization is different, but then you are expected to figure it out on your own. So of course you spoke about uh, you were fortunate that you found the right kind of mentors, but then there must have been something that you observed, you learned.
Sure.
So I want
Good
to know about
question,
that.
actually. Good question. So I still remember these things very, very, very well, as if it was like yesterday. When I started my career, I had a good manager. But as I got observed into the organization and I was working, there were not just my manager, there were other managers as well. And there was this absolutely brilliant manager. Technically, I mean, initially in your career, you're a tech guy, technical, and you're working hard on your tasks, getting your job done and everything. But I could see that being a manager, the impact that you can make to the organization or the overall scope of the project and everything is much more than you can make as an individual contributor. But I was very, very technical. I wanted to be as a techie all through my life. But I've also seen these other managers, after a period of time, they're not techie anymore. They don't code, they don't contribute hands on. They're just managing the stuff. It is not like it is bad. That's also very much required. But I had the opportunity to observe very closely this manager who was doing a good job with his team, managing and everything, but he could also work technically. And I had him as a mentor. And he told me this, saying it is up to you how much you do be technical and still manage, but you can't compromise on being a manager. So some people, they do compromise and they just don't do anything technical, but it's a choice that you have. And that was the eye opener for me. So to make a larger impact, you can still do as an individual contributor, not that you cannot do. But being a manager, you can influence and make a larger impact. And that was the trigger for me. The conversation that I had with this individual, his name was Zuhair, yeah, long time back, very, very long time back. So that was like a very good thing that he influenced me making a switch to the manager. So that was my career path where I wanted to.
So Vasu, you have spoken about aggression, hard skills, technical skills, but to be a manager, there are some certain softer aspects.
A lot.
And I have known you to be very empathetic. So do you want to talk to us about, was it something that you observed and learned, or was it something that was told to you?
Oh, it was told to me. It was told, not just told to me. I observed how empathetic some of my managers were towards me and the rest of the team and everything. And through them, I learned those things actually. I said, like, wow, this is fantastic. This is how you should be doing actually. So a lot of times you know about this, right? So where manager cares for the work to be done, but the person needs to care for an individual as well. As a manager, you got to know about that employee, their family, what that individual is going through. There will be a lot of times when an individual may not be performing at the level that you would expect them to perform. They're capable, you know them very well, but something is not clicking and they're not doing it. It's not necessarily the work wise, but maybe something is happening in their personal life. Maybe that's as an impact. But if you're not able to understand that aspect, you would dismiss that non-performer. But if you're able to understand that aspect, you would probably provide them the space so that they come back and you support them. It's very important to support those individuals during that phase. I mean, if there is a non-performer, yeah, sure, it's impact to the organization. But if you are able to support an individual in all those difficult phases and then let them grow, it's a fantastic thing, right?
So would that be your advice to early career, early managers to observe and spot such things? Because it's very easy to spot low performance, but it takes a little bit of effort to see what may have been the root cause. Because often we are so, especially managers, right? We are having to manage large teams. We are responsible for so many individuals and their collective outcomes. Oftentimes, it is just sort of very easy to identify one individual and sort of call that person out for low performance. How do you navigate that conversation around that person's personal life, and how do you?
No, you cannot go into the personal life of an individual. Definitely, you should not cross the boundary. But if somebody is not performing, you need to understand the reasons. And there are, I mean, if you need to build that rapport. You need to ask the right questions. If there is something that you can help, if they need to take the time off, then once you build that rapport, you'll get to know that actually. You'll know it. Trust me, you'll know it actually.
Yep.
But you need to understand your employee, and low performance is not a one-time thing. If it constantly keeps happening, that's when say, okay, maybe the person is fit for something else better.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Correct. And I think so. Then, what will be your advice for such individuals? We spoke about managers, but if you, as an individual, as a professional, has by default or by design has gotten into a certain type of career, when do you when should you decide that, okay, this career is not for me, I should be looking for something?
Not enjoy.
If you're not,
Enjoy. You got to enjoy your life. You got to enjoy your work. Long time back, I read this article about job satisfaction and satisfying the job.
okay,
So everybody chases job satisfaction. Everybody talks about, I mean, we keep hearing about job satisfaction. Oh, I don't have job satisfaction. I'm not happy with my job and everything. I want everyone to ask ourselves, are you satisfying the job? There is a job that you're doing. There's a requirements. The job requirements are there. Are you satisfying the job requirements? If you satisfy the job requirements fully, keep doing it. I'm very, very sure you'll enjoy the job as well. And you can get the job satisfaction. So we need to ask ourselves, am I satisfying the job? Then asking ourselves all the time, not that we should not have the job satisfaction. Of course, we should have the job satisfaction. But if you're satisfying what the job requires, that's the first step to get to job satisfaction. If you're not even satisfying the job requirements, I don't see a reason why you should ever have job satisfaction.
but you should persist with that job anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You'll never have it, actually.
Exactly. Yeah. So I want to understand what will be your advice to individuals who find themselves at such a place where they are no longer enjoying the job. Many times it is like they are too late in their career, and it's not always possible to change.
It is possible.
It is.
We need to believe that. I'm sorry to cut you off, but then
Yeah.
we got to believe that it is possible. It is possible. Take a break. Talk to your confidence. Talk to your friends. Talk to your boss.
It may not always be possible, Vasu. Life takes over.
Sure, I understand that. I totally understand.
Life happens.
But I am very sure. I'm very sure every one of us have one or two friends who we could talk to, like ourselves, right? I mean, as if I'm talking to myself very candidly, that one, two friends, and then trust your gut.
Trust your gut. That's a great segue into what I wanted to understand a bit more about you, Asu. So you studied hard, got into IIT, you started, and I think you had also gone to the US. So
I
talk
was,
to me about
I,
why did you not choose to stay in the US
oh,
and come to India?
because I was very clear about that I would like to be back to India, primarily for my family. When I say family, it's my father and mother. My father and mother worked very hard, very hard in educating me. We come from a very humble background. All my brothers, I have one elder brother, two elder sisters. They all went to government school. I was the only one who was sent to a private school. That's what they did, and it was not easy for them. But they said, okay, let's send one kid to a private school. So they did a. I I can't count the number of sacrifices. Not just my parents, my brothers and sisters. Everyone did for me. Um, so I'm so grateful for everything that they did for, and that's the reason this thing. And then I went to IIT, then US. I studied at Ohio State University for 2 years, worked for 3 years, and the plan was always to come back and be with them, my parents, because they did so much for me. I owed that much for them.
Correct.
Yeah, and that is the only reason. Now people could ask, no, they could come there, but it is not easy. It is not easy for your parents at a certain age when their family, friends, and their whole life was here, and suddenly you say, okay, because of your favorite kid is in US, you come there. They could visit for 2-3 months, and then they'll have to come back. So that was not even something that I could ask them. So I said, I'll have to be there with them to be and support them when I am capable of, right? They did all the things for me to get me to this state. That's the state I need to be supporting them, actually. So that was the one reason I came back to India and never regretted in my life.
That's fascinating because uh, I have met friends. Had I have also had similar conversations. In fact, the reason why I chose not to be out of India was somewhat different because I believed in the whole India story. India was happening, India is still happening. And I felt that I have to be here where there is 7%, 8% year on year growth happening rather than being in an economy which
No,
is negative growth.
none of that, actually. For me, that was not the thing. It was just my father and mother. I wanted to be with them and support them when I'm well off, kind of a thing.
Thank you for being so authentic and sharing this bit with us, Vasu. Uh, you are the head of engineering at Contentstack.
Yes, I am.
And to get here, it must have been quite a journey. And I know that I have seen you having some deeply technical conversations. You are like as at ease as anybody. Okay. I've also seen you having some managerial, empathetic type conversations, coaching, mentoring type conversations. You are at ease. So, speak to us about your professional journey. So, you mentioned your first 3 years were at in the US. I think was it TIPCO?
No. No, not TIPCO. I used to work at Arvin Meritor.
Mm-hmm.
I did their NVH analytical profiling and everything of the mufflers and everything. Then I moved to I2 Technologies.
Oh, that was hardcore engineering, mechanical engineering you started
Mechanical
off. Oh,
engineering with
super.
yeah. the computational models.
Mm-hmm.
I started my career writing in C, C++, um, and building the computational models for the mufflers, for the sound attenuation and vibration. Then I switched to hardcore programming, a computer product company, I2. Then I was in India working with I2. And it was always very clear that because very early in my career, I could see these managers, tech managers who could make an impact. So I wanted to be that tech manager. And I do still remember that first conversation, my appraisal talk with Suresh Shenoy at I2. It was like probably 4 years or something into my career where I told Suresh I want to be a development manager. And he said, I'm the development manager. I said, like, yes, Suresh, like you. I want to be a development manager. Not that I'm asking for his job, but I wanted to be a development manager because I always believed you can make a larger impact being a techie and a manager. And yeah, so
And
then he told me a few things that I should be doing to be a tech manager as a development manager. Then I worked very hard making those things happen. First, you need to be a leader in your team. You need to be helping others. You're not only taking care of your job, but you need to own things and make them happen in the team setting. Team always wins. You look at the championship teams, the team is the one that wins the championship. Individual brilliance only wins single matches.
correct.
So that's another thing that he told me. Being a manager is about being the best team player. You may not be the best guy in the team, but you should be the one taking everybody together and making sure that the overall team objective is achieved and all those things. So he gave me a few tips what I should be doing to get to that development manager role. And I started doing those things. And then 2 years down the line, I was offered the team lead role. Then another year later, I became a manager. Then I still used to code, do all the things. And then without worrying about the outcomes, you just work hard. You just do what is right for the company. You keep doing that, everything will happen. And that is what happened to me as well. I was never worried about myself or will my hard work be recognized. None of those things. I just did the job, and then recognition just followed through one after the other. Then one team led to another couple of teams, then larger business unit. Then whenever there was a difficulty kind of a thing, I always raised my hand and said, I'll take care of it. And then there was a time where at Software AG, we had a leadership crisis in Chennai. So Chennai, if you guys know it, there is only 3 seasons in Chennai: hot, hotter, hottest. That's the 3 seasons. That's it. There's no other seasons. It's very sultry, hot. But I went there for 3 years with my family and really loved my time there. I still cherish those, not just the 3 years, even though I came back to Bangalore after that. I still managed that team, and it was very good experience for me. And that was like a little bit of a revelation for myself what I could potentially achieve, because that probably is the most difficult challenge I have gone through till now. Turning around the team, the product, everything. I was able to get that done, and a lot of other things. And then at Software AG, another one that happened is the company was transforming to the cloud.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear.
I did not know anything about cloud,
Yeah.
but I was one of those people who work very hard in learning new technologies and newer things. I spend weekends, nights, whatever it takes to learn new technology. And since my boss trusted me, they said, okay, Vasu, would you be able to take care of this one? I said, sure.
And that's how
Then
you.
I pivoted to the cloud, and we transformed the entire company into a cloud company. The iPaaS, API management, and a lot of things were built as a result of it. That gave me an extremely good opportunity to work with the large teams. Yeah.
And that was
And
a natural
then,
segue into
so
where.
that's when I met Nishant, who had Built.io, and Built.io was acquired by Software AG because I used to manage the integration space, the iPaaS. So that's how this entire team came into my organization, and I was the leader for that entire organization. And we worked together in merging Built.io and the integration cloud to get webmethods.io iPaaS. And after a few years, me and Nishant, we met again, and Nishant asked me, would you want to consider this? I said, yeah, sure. It's been 18 years at Software AG at that time, and now the last 2 years at Contentstack has been absolutely amazing. This team is very, very passionate to win and high energy. Technology is amazing. What Nishant and team has built at Contentstack is absolutely amazing. So now I'm here. I'm doing my part to get us to the next level.
So Vasu, you and I, we have had this discussion many times that Contentstack should be recognized as one of the top 5 product companies out of India.
Absolutely.
So why
Absolutely.
is it that, okay, let us not get into why Contentstack is not very well known, but let us, for our audience here, let us break it down. What is it? What is Contentstack, and why is it one of the most important companies of the 21st century?
Contentstack is the one of the pioneers in the headless CMS space. Everybody talks about the digital experiences and everything, but then the foundation for providing the best digital experience is having an headless CMS. Digital experience is nothing but the content that you're providing to your end users. And that content, how do you present it in the best possible way, is enabled only and only if you have an headless CMS. You can do it in multiple ways, but then the journey will not be great.
But
Having a
what is headless CMS?
headless CMS is where you manage the content and provide the content through an APIs. And the head, which is your presentation layer, it could be a web, mobile, social media, or a print, or any of those things, is driven through the APIs.
And all of this became possible because of cloud innovations in API.
Cloud, primarily, cloud is one of the good drivers, but tech-wise, and the need to innovate faster.
Yeah.
So if you have everything tied together, the innovation is not faster, and you can't provide the best digital experiences.
Correct.
Having headless CMS will enable you to provide that.
So Vasu, we have spoken about your professional journey. We have spoken about your journey leading up to Contentstack. I want to dig again a little deeper. I want to understand what made you so successful. What I think it's not just the things that you mentioned. Working hard. You were fortunate to find the right kind of mentors. You had aspiration to take some of those roles or work towards those roles. But there must have been other finer nuances that many people are not aware of or are not able to work towards. Walk us through some of those things, Vasu. For example, you are based in India, but I'm sure you are working with teams in Europe and the US. And here also, we are working with a global, multicultural,
Yeah.
cross-teaming sort of setup. And it is not easy. And today, we are a very globally dispersed team. So it is challenging. So how has some of your previous experiences helped you to get here?
Very loaded question, but I'll try actually. I'll try to think about what worked for me actually. The first and foremost is I work very hard. I told you I spend evenings, late hours, weekends studying, learning new things and everything. That is one thing that helped me to learn new things. So be prepared for something that might be thrown at you. Being truly prepared. That's one thing. And the second thing it's not a coincidence when I said that I had the good mentorship and everything. I always try to observe people and learn from them the best practices. Where when you see somebody, right, you feel like, wow,
You
good.
feel inspired.
Yeah. I'll always write down those things actually. I usually keep a journal as well, kind of a thing. I learn those things. But that's not the only important thing. You should also look at what you don't like in those people. It's one part about what you like. There are certain aspects. I mean, there's all the people, all my mentors who helped me to be who I am. There's a lot of things I learned from them. But I also learned a lot of things what I should not be doing actually. Okay. Probably I never went back to them and told them actually, or maybe I told few of them. But there is some things that you should not be doing actually. Yeah. Where you observe which you don't like it. So like, okay,
That's a
no.
very interesting
So
observation.
you need to be true to yourself. Just because somebody is great in doing certain things does not mean that they are great in everything.
Yeah.
And you'll see those things. Not just about doing the good things.
Yeah.
Write down what you should not be doing as well actually.
That's a
Yeah.
very, very good
So
point that you made.
I learned those other things. What else? And this is one thing I'm very proud of, is very, very proud of. I truly believe I'm a very, very authentic leader. I do not do anything that I would not do in my personal life. As a manager, the same way I behave at home or in my personal life, I try to do the same thing at work as well. If something does not work for me in my personal life, I don't do it in at work as well. Simple example, like if the restaurants that I go with my family, if I have to take my team out, I'll take them to the same restaurant. I mean, when you're at the company, you expense, right? I take them to the normal restaurants that I go with my family. I go to good restaurants with my family as well. Like it's not like I take them to the cheap restaurants, but then it's just the same way I do it. I still remember a time where my team asked me, guys, Vasu, let's go for lunch. I said, yeah, sure, let's go for lunch. And then we just walked. I just took them across the street to a Udupi Upahar. And
One
they
of
were
my
like,
favorites.
and they were like, really? I said, like, guys, what's wrong with this? Don't we eat here? Actually, we do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what is the intent? Intent is to spend time together and have lunch,
Yeah.
right? And I also took them to a 5-star restaurants,
Yeah.
right? So you need to satisfy the intent, and that's the authenticity. How you live in your personal life, do it. Trust me, your team observes.
Exactly.
They observe you.
They
They
look up to
observe
you.
you every single thing that you do, and you are setting a role, being a role model, right?
Yeah.
You need to do those kind of things. These are simple things, actually, very, very simple things. Don't do anything just because your company is sponsoring or anything. So just be authentic.
Correct. I liked what you spoke to me about. I have learned by observing my leaders. I have documented some of their good things, but I've also reflected upon some of their areas of weakness.
Yep.
I think this is a very, very important point, because I have seen children, they look up to their parents, they reflect all of their behaviors, the entire spectrum
Everything.
of their behaviors.
Yeah.
And individuals who work with some really highly successful leaders, they not only adopt their best behaviors, but they also adopt their worst behaviors.
Correct.
And it
Yeah.
is extremely important to be able to find the difference. So thank you for sharing this. In fact, I did not know this. I thought it was okay for me if I am in the good books of my boss, if I am doing what he or she are doing. And sometimes, I have seen individuals who would often abuse on the floor. And it was seen as something that was really cool. It was something that uh, that made you appear that you're also, because that behavior of the boss was accepted by everybody. Many individuals think that they have to do something of the sort to rise up through the ranks. And
I don't know that part, but I would actually agree with you on that one. Everybody would think it's an acceptable behavior
Yeah.
because the boss did and there was no consequence or something.
Correct.
It's an acceptable behavior. Others repeat the same behavior, then it becomes an acceptable behavior.
Correct.
Right? So
And then and then through that we are eventually leading towards a very toxic culture.
toxic and mediocrity.
Mediocrity, yes, because you are not trying to do any different. You are not trying to find your own individuality as a career professional. So, a great conversation so far, Vasu. One thing that we haven't touched upon, of course, you have worked hard through your childhood and youth and even during your career. One thing that I really admire about you is your appetite to learn, about your curiosity. You still have that childlike curiosity to continue to learn. See, I often say that, often not just to you, but the team here and everybody, that how is it that Vasu works like 60, 70 hours every week? He sees all the best content. He has seen all the movies, by the way. Vasu has seen all the movies.
Yeah.
Uh,
I love movies. I love
and he has seen
movies.
all the best content. Okay. He has been to all the best restaurants.
Yeah. I love food.
And Vasu finds time to read and complete courses. In fact, last year's leaderboard, Vasu was trending above everybody. I sent all kinds of books to Vasu. Vasu has read all of them. So I want to learn about that. How are you able to sustain that curiosity, Vasu? Why has life not affected you?
No, you got to be, if you wanna aspire, if you aspire and you wanna do things, right? You got to learn. You got to learn. Be like a sponge. Keep absorbing things. What you need to do. This younger generation is way too smart, very very smart, and your team is very very smart. If you have to work with them, right? Not that you have to be the smartest in the room. You don't need to be the smartest in the room, but maybe in some occasions you'll be the smartest in the room, but then you'll never be the smartest in the room. But you should be aware of things. Only then you can have a meaningful conversations. If you're not aware of things, there's no way you can have a meaningful conversations. And that's one reason we are in the tech industry. Tech keeps changing. Every 2-3 years, every 4-5 years, a decade, what was applicable a decade ago is completely thrown away. So unless you keep learning, you will not be able to innovate. And when you start reading a lot of books and listening to a lot of podcasts and everything, new ideas come in, right? And that's the one thing that I'm motivated by those things. Actually, it is not just one podcast, it is not one book or some articles and those things that help you. A combination of many things is what sparks the innovation, and that's what motivates me actually. And also, it's otherwise life gets boring actually.
Yeah.
Life just becomes boring. Yeah, I watch movies and all these things. What else do you do other time, right? So the way I know this is a little bit not so nice. When I tell this, you have 24 hours in a day. It's up to you how you use that 24 hours.
Agree.
Right?
Agree,
Of
yes.
course, you need to take care of your body. You need to listen to what the body is telling you. You need to spend time with your family and all those things, of course.
Very good point.
But at the
Vasu.
same time, you got to be selfish. Let me put it this way. You got to be selfish and learn these things. It is for your own self.
Correct, Vasu.
Right? And that's what motivates me. Think about it as a selfish thing, but then
Yeah.
it keeps you alive.
Yes.
I think that's the right thing actually. For me, learning all these stuff is what keeps me alive. Yeah.
Very good point. In fact, I would like to add a couple of things here. Way back, right out of class 12, there was this guy. He was a Haryanvi guy. He was a very good friend of mine. He used to say, and I'll try, my Haryanvi is not very good. So he used to say that, भाई भगवान ने किसी के साथ नाइंसाफी नहीं कर रखी, सबको 24 घंटे दे रखे हैं।
Exactly. Right?
और आप अपने 24 घंटे कैसे यूज करते हो ये आपके ऊपर है।
Yeah.
और एक बात आपने बहुत अच्छी कही वासु, कि आई हैव बिकम वेरी सेल्फिश अबाउट माय टाइम. आई थिंक इट्स अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रियलाइजेशन. मैं भी in fact recently I have become very protective of my time. I used to see that I'm giving my time to things that are no longer relevant. In fact, our design head, George, he in his very own way mentioned that anything that doesn't add value should be cut, right?
Absolutely.
And you
Yeah.
should be very ruthless and brutal about it. That means that individuals, content, things, over the years we accumulate so many things, clutter also in our head, the content that we consume and all of that. So I've become very protective of my time, and I think that's what you also mentioned, Vasu. So we spoke about being curious about technology, being that having that appetite to learn. So of course you have lived that one cycle of technology, cloud and APIs and all of that. Pardon my technical knowledge is not that deep,
So
but
I'll tell
of
you
course.
at least the way I saw the technology evolving.
Yeah.
Web was the first thing that revolutionized it.
Yes.
Of course, the computers were there and everything, but the web is
Yeah.
the first thing that
It revolutionized everything.
revolutionized, made everything accessible.
Yes.
Everywhere. That's the
Yeah.
first thing that happened. And then we saw the mobile. That was a game changer of the connectivity and everything. Then the smartphones and everything happened. Cloud happened after that. Fantastic. Yeah. And then there was, all through these phases, there was neural networks, machine learning, and everything was there. It was not like it was not there. It was just there, and invisible, but they were all happening. And suddenly, now comes the generative AI.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yeah. Another new
like
cycle is emerging.
It's like a dinosaur that was actually just lying low for a very long period of time, because neural networks, machine learning, artificial intelligence was all there for a long period of time. All of that in a new avatar has come
Generative
alive
AI.
as generative AI. And I believe if web had made things, content and everything available for everyone, was on a scale of 100, 10, then mobile is also around 10, 20 kind of a thing. Cloud probably 30, 40, 50 kind of a thing. Generative AI is beyond 100. I do not think we still fathom what it is. It is at that nascent stage. It will change everything for us. It will absolutely change everything, the way we imagine the possibility. So I don't think, I'm sure there are few people who are able to comprehend this, the overall outcome of generative AI. But I think personally, I'm way too much convinced that this is such a game changer for humanity.
Every advent of such technology, there also comes this whole perceived threat that is the career that I'm pursuing, of let's say that of a software developer, is my job going to be relevant 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line? We are hearing there have been a few companies who have adopted elements of AI.
Everybody should adopt. Is my job secure? Absolutely not secure at all. No, actually, technically, in my opinion, nobody's job is ever secure. There's no job that is ever secure with the generative AI. Jobs are not secure, but I don't think we should be worried about that. you're never going to be replaced by generative AI. You're never going to be replaced. That's not what is going to happen. You're always going to be replaced by somebody who knows this technology better than you, who can use this technology better than you. That's the person who's going to replace you. Yeah, then you'll find something else.
People who know how to use these tools.
Yep.
Like Kshitija and I, for lesser models like us, ChatGPT is a thought partner.
Yeah, no. Everybody, no. Don't mistake about the ChatGPT. Your usage as a third party, it just made you a lot more productive.
Oh yes, I
Isn't
agree.
it? I mean, what
Yes.
would have probably taken couple of hours of review and everything,
Yeah.
ChatGPT helps you do that in few minutes. Why
Correct.
not? Why shouldn't I be taking advantage or use that technology and become more productive?
Agree.
And if I'm very diligent of my time, like you said, I'm very conscious about my time, take out the clutter and everything, that 3 hours or 4 hours, what would you do now? What would you do now? If you're a movie fan, maybe you'll watch movie. Or if you want to do something more productive, you'll use that time to do something better, right?
For sure. Yes.
So, and this is exactly what happened to the human mankind, or mankind, right? So, we used to farm normally, and then industrial revolution and the farming revolution and everything happened. Then the industrial revolution, all these things happened, and we became more and more and more productive. This is also that kind of a magnitude revolution that is happening. Actually, we'll just be more productive, and we'll use our time in more constructive thing.
This is a question that I asked Nishant as well. So the first industrial revolution happened around 250 to 300 years ago, when humankind harnessed steam. Then there was this advent of electricity. Then came the whole industrialized revolution, and then the fourth industrial revolution was about robotics and usage of Internet of Things, connected devices. And every time something of that sort happened, some jobs went away. And then when adoption of those technologies were happening, there was a lot of resistance to that adoption. In this case, I see that even if you like it or not, AI is going to be a very, very important part of your life.
Absolutely.
And you have to adopt or you will perish. This is
Absolutely.
very, very clear. Of course,
Yep.
as you very rightly said, I don't think AI is going to replace us. There might be a few occasionally believable opinions about.
No. AI is going to replace you. Absolutely, AI is going to replace you. Imagine a situation where this kind of a podcast can be done by AI.
But
But
humans
the
will not
questions,
listen to it, Vasu.
no, the questions are being asked
Hmm.
by AI, right?
Yeah.
It could. If you feed in, if you want a podcast of something, and then say, okay, let's ask this person what questions to be asked.
Yeah.
And there could be an avatar that is created,
Hmm.
like Manish. Not difficult.
That's great, Vasu, knowing about what the future holds for us. But you would have observed in your career, especially in jobs or careers where there is a lot of tech involved, you would not see too many women coming in. And I think it starts from the college itself, it starts from the selection process itself. And then in engineering colleges, you will see the gender ratio being not so good compared to other disciplines.
Technology-wise.
Yeah, especially in engineering colleges, tech disciplines primarily. And that sort of continues even when an individual starts their career in a job, right? Especially in tech
Yeah.
jobs, right? You see that there is a certain ratio early career, but then women, as they get married, family happens, life happens, they drop out of that career ladder.
Correct.
And you will not see too many women leaders rising through the ranks. Okay. And Contentstack and this group, all of us, we have tried to solve that problem in our very small, humble way. We started this program last year called Empower Her, fairly successful. We were able to make a difference in the lives of about 100 odd
120.
120, yes, thank you for correcting, Vasu. 120 women students, and today I think some of them are working with us in our world, and we are going to start this program again very
Yep.
soon. So I want to understand, Vasu, how can, if you were, let's say, in 1998 when all of this was starting, what could have we done better, and what can we do from this point on, so that we have some semblance of equality and diversity in tech careers?
We can do a lot. We can do a lot. Think about it. If we are talking just about India, 50% is women.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's a natural thing, right? 50%. If we are able to harness the power of all of them, look at
Yes.
the amount of contribution that in the nation building. Yeah, nation building is a loaded thing, but then overall economy and the betterment of our individual lives can be done. Unfortunately, this is what happens actually. Based on my observations of the things so far, in our family circle and everything, we of course take care of our daughters same as sons. Maybe not in all families, but from what I have seen is in many families, at least in this new generation, they do equal thing. Even at school, girls do for a lot of times better than the boys, and this is how it was in my kids. I have a son and a daughter. When they were graduating in the school, and they have this board. Usually, all the schools have this board. How many got the best marks and everything in the 10th grade, 12th grade, etc. Next time you watch that board, watch how many girls are there on that board and how many boys. I can absolutely bet you will find more girls than the boys on that board. You go to the 12th grade, same thing. Maybe in engineering it is 50-50 in the higher level. After that, due to the circumstances that we have in the Indian society, most of the time what happens is women take a back seat taking care of the family. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, let me be honest, there is nothing wrong with it. But this is the most important thing for me actually. It is not their own job to take care of that. Guys like us, we should also, I know you support your family a lot. You take care of your daughter early in the morning for all the swimming and everything. Not all the time men do that. Women do not have that family support to take care of the family and then also pursue that career. This is where, as a society, right, we need to be doing those things so that women get the opportunity to do what they need to do. So this is one aspect on the society part. But what can organizations do?
Yes, I
right?
wanted to know that. Yeah.
And this is also very, very important actually. Organization needs to understand this particular aspect, that women probably at their home do not have that support system. Then we should be able to provide that support system. During COVID and post-COVID also, even now we have a lot of remote calls. There are times people schedule calls during the lunchtime. And there was a time where one of my team member had a call at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which is natural. You don't feel that there is anything wrong having a call at 2 o'clock. But then she had to feed her daughter or son at that point of time. Is it possible for the team to shift by 15 minutes? Yeah, sure. Why not, right? Or a half an hour? It is very much possible. After a lot of struggle, she told that, saying, guys, can we shift that? because she was always missing the team meeting, and it was perceived as, oh, this person is not attending. It's a very simple instance that I mentioned to you. These are the kind of things where organizations can actually, I'm not saying compromise on your productivity or anything, but organizations can take, if you consciously support the women employees.
Yes.
Okay, it's not that such a big deal.
Correct.
If you understand these things, and then also empower women employees in your organization to take on leadership roles. They're good leaders. I mean, who is the boss at home? Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah.
How is it possible that they can't do the same thing at office?
Yes.
Right? They can do it. It is just that we need to do that little bit of a nudge, little bit of a support, and every single organization will be way better. Way better
with
than
more women participation, you think?
Absolutely. I'm 200% convinced about it. It is just that we need to support, we need to have the patience, and we need to understand the pain that some of them are going through.
Yeah.
Right? They may not tell you all the things, but then you need to support.
Yes,
them.
Vasu, but I think one additional piece that is missing in general in terms of our, collectively. I'm not just talking about us or any other organization that you and I have worked, but in general, there is this proactive communication that is lacking. That if for whatever reason, I'm talking about women who have bright women who have had a good career, family happened, and then they dropped out of a career, and then in general, there is this unspoken, pardon me for saying this, but prejudice that this person was not working for the last 4 or 5 years. Will she be as productive as somebody who has had a certain continuity?
Yeah.
So such people, such women, are not as welcome as people who have had a regular career. So what's your take on that?
No, we should. Nobody should compromise on the contribution of the performance. That is not fair. But what we should provide is a platform for them to get absorbed into the workforce gradually.
Yeah.
So they could start. I mean, there was a time where even at Contentstack, we had this thing where we supported some of the women employees getting back to work. Yeah, provide internships for a few hours and get them into the ease of the working culture, because somebody who has been not working for 4-5 years would be rustic.
Yeah.
Right? So it is natural, but then they also need to get used to the work culture again.
Absolutely.
The work schedules and all those things, taking care of their kids' times and their family timing. Also prepare their family, their spouse, to take care of few things, right? So all of that will happen gradually, and then they can be eased into the regular. So it can't be just a one-time tack, and then they're back to the regular workforce. They had to ease in, and we need to support them actually. And Contentstack does that. I learned this from Software Age. They used to do that fantastically, and we said, why not here as well?
Yeah, but I think this also, you're right. If there was an opportunity, if there was a clear communication that you are welcome, then more women will try to come out of their own self-doubt and try to apply for such roles and get back to some of those careers that they very richly deserve because of great conversation, Vasu. I'm really enjoying it. I wish we had more time.
Enjoying.
We could have continued talking. So of course, we have spoken about your career, your childhood, your fascination for tech, and you got where you got to. But I really wanted to see the other side of Vasu.
Okay. Which side?
Which is the fun side.
Sure.
Often it may be perceived to even to our audience that somebody who studied very hard, went to IIT, has had this very successful career. So he's all work and no fun, kind of a person. But I know that is not true. So let me ask you a few questions. So when you were a child, right?
So by the way, just that all work, no fun. So I truly believe in that. You work hard, party harder.
Oh yes, I agree.
That's what I believe in.
Yes,
Actually, I do
yes.
that, by the way.
Absolutely. So yeah, one additional thing I must tell everybody that Vasu works 60 to 70 hours every week. He has been to all restaurants, but he has also been to all the pubs.
Yeah.
He knows where the best beer is, by the way. So coming back to what I wanted to know, a few additional layers, right? When you were a child, right? When I was a child, I wanted to be a pilot. I don't know for.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I wanted to be a pilot as well. Actually, I thought that was the coolest job. I wanted to be a pilot.
That's
You
great.
know,
Okay, so your childhood dream job was to be a pilot. Okay.
pilot. Yeah,
Your favorite subject in school?
mathematics.
One gadget you can't live without.
Mm, I don't know. I mean, if you phone, everything I can live without, but then my computer, I can't live without my computer. That's where I learn a lot of stuff.
Everything.
And
Yeah. Agree.
my Kindle. Actually, more than my computer, my Kindle. I read books, but I'm not that kind of person who want a hard copy all the time. I just
Yeah,
buy
I love
them.
Kindle as well. I
Yeah,
have a Kindle device.
Kindle is the one that
I have
I can't.
Kindle on my laptop. I have Kindle on my phone. I have Kindle on my iPad. I have got Kindle everywhere. I
Yeah,
love
no,
Kindle.
Kindle is the one that I can't live without.
So, Vasu, you are that classical persona. Uh, Work hard, engineer, uh, software leader, and you are what you are. If it was not for an engineering, if it was an alternative universe, if it was not for engineering, what career would you have pursued?
Teaching.
Teaching?
Yep. I would love to teach kids below fifth grade from the kindergarten to fifth grade. Not beyond that. Or maybe till 10th. I'm okay that too. But then from the kindergarten, from the 4, 5 years to 10 years,
Why do you think
um,
this
that's
particular?
where you can actually shape
That's when you
everybody.
can make a difference.
That's where you can actually just make them the best, right? You are actually the values, the everything you can teach them, so that they could just be good human beings.
Vasu, I have a lot more questions, but now that you have mentioned being a teacher, and you know that I have been experimenting with homeschooling, and I'm really questioning the whole schooling system. I believe that the schooling system is a hoax. Parents, please pardon me. Education system, NCERT, please pardon me for saying this. But I have started to believe that in this age of tech and democratization, general availability of information in general, uh, I think the education system, the traditional education system, which has been around for the last 150 or so years, it
Yeah.
has to be questioned. It has to
Absolutely.
be looked into.
Yeah,
Wouldn't you?
absolutely.
Wouldn't you think, Vasu?
Absolutely.
And then the whole system of classifying the same age group in one class, having them follow one curriculum, I think that the whole thing needs to change, because as a homeschooling parent, I have come to understand that I can have my kid go through several subjects maybe in 1 year. Class 9 and 10 I can complete in 1 year.
But
But
you
then,
also need to, yeah, you could, but you also
yeah.
need to get them to live their life.
Oh yes,
Right?
agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you cram 2 years of learning into 1 year, they
But
lost 1 year of their life.
but if you ask homeschooling parents, and if you ask homeschooling teachers, they will say that students typically don't require 8 or 9 hours of learning in
Yeah,
school,
they don't.
right?
They don't.
Typically, 2 to 3 hours of regular studies is
More
enough
than
to
sufficient.
cover the school curriculum, at least. Of course,
Absolutely.
not for competitive exams and all that. You need to study a lot harder.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, we all both agree that the school curriculum should be questioned, and even parents should be not be stuck with CBSE, this board, that board, but question how we can shape our children better for the future, right?
The education should be provide the ability for the students to question.
Oh yes,
Unfortunately, that is exactly the opposite our current education system does.
very good point,
It
Vasu.
actually takes
Yeah.
away the ability to question.
Yeah.
So you should actually encourage
Yeah.
everybody to question why something is so.
Correct.
And that's how the education system should be.
should change. Yes. And one thing, Vasu, we have been discussing this. We discuss it all the time. One thing that one common homeschooling parent, he broke it down. He really broke it down at the first principles level. So I was worried before going down this path. He said that, what are you worried about? All your child need is math, because math is important, and comprehension, English comprehension.
Exactly.
So the child should be
Not
confident.
necessarily English.
Language. Yeah.
It's a language.
Yes. So the child should grow up with the confidence that I can read anything and I can learn anything. That whole thing that we keep discussing, even with our setup, adult education, the
That is the
skilling, the skill to upskill, learning to
Exactly.
learn, right? So that's a very important skill. I'm glad that you also agree, Vasu. So I have a few other questions very
Sure.
quickly. So we spoke about, if not engineering, you said
Teaching.
teaching would have been that profession. Okay. Uh, my next question here is a tech trend that you're most excited about.
Generative AI. That's the one.
One thing that you love about working at Contentstack.
People and technology, both.
Yes,
It's
of
not
course.
just the people.
Yeah,
It's,
we are out
it's
to
also the
make a
technology.
big dent in the world. I agree. What is your go-to comfort food?
I love upma, idli, and these are the two.
Sure. And what is your go-to luxurious food?
Well, there's nothing like luxurious food for me. What I enjoy. That's
Okay.
the
That's the most
that's
important thing.
the
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
Funniest memory from IIT Kharagpur.
Couple of them, but the one that I would actually always remember is there was this cricket match that we had with Australia when I was at college, and in the Australia the matches start at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning, depending on the where it is.
Yeah.
And it goes on till 11, 12 one-day internationals. So I used to watch cricket as well, but then for me the classes was more important than watching the one-day international. There was a time where the whole hostels was watching the cricket match, and me and was another guy as well who turned up to the class at 8 o'clock in the morning, and the professor asked why did the others didn't show up, and we said because everybody is watching cricket match, and he made sure that all the hostels power was gone. Yeah. And then later everybody showed up, and I absolutely dreaded that situation, because if my friends knew, because I turned up in the class and that was the reason the power was gone and they could not watch it. I don't think my friends still now probably know it, but I think that was one of the most funniest thing that I would remember at this
Wow.
point, actually.
Thank you for sharing that experience, Vasu. A book that you would recommend to every reader.
I would recommend the Speed for Trust.
That book
It's a
is
very good book. Very good book. The reason that book is extremely important is for everybody to read is we are humans. We are humans, be the tech and everything, but we are still human beings. We work with each other. To get anything done, we have to collaborate. We have to get the job done. How do you build a trust with somebody else that you are reliable? This lays out basic fundamental things that you should be doing. And it's written extremely well for everybody to understand. If there is no trust between two individuals to get the same job done, it is extremely difficult. If the trust is there, you just need to see each other. You understood that it will be done. But just at the coffee station, when you are having coffee, you just discuss and the job is done, right? But if the trust is not there, you need to do a lot more hard work to get the same thing done. So,
yeah, especially in an environment where we are
and
working in
exactly, this is also
multiple
very
cities.
important, because every company is diverse, different locations, different countries, everything. But then it just boils down to the trust two individuals have to get the job done faster.
Yeah, that's great, Vasu. Thank you for sharing that. Um, my last question for the day. One word your team would use to describe you. Describe Vasu.
I should ask my team, but maybe they would actually say hardworking. Mm, yeah, maybe a hardworking guy, reliable, trustworthy,
Dependable,
dependable. Yeah,
authentic. I think if somebody were to ask me what is that one word, I would say authentic.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
All right, that's great.
Thank you,
Vasu,
Manish.
thank you so much.
It was absolutely a pleasure talking to you. Like always, a great friend. And yeah, there's few things I learned about myself as well as we are speaking actually.
थैंक यू सो मच वासु आपके साथ बात करके हमेशा की तरह मुझे बहुत मज़ा आया और मैं आशा करता हूँ कि हमारे जो ऑडियंस हैं अर्ली करियर इंडिविजुअल्स हैं उनको आज कुछ नया सीखने को मिला होगा इट्स नॉट ऑलवेज वी हैव such accomplished individuals like Vasu show up at our podcast. So if there are any questions for you have for Vasu, please add him on your LinkedIn. Please feel free to ping him directly on LinkedIn. Or if there are any broader questions that you want answered from our guest or from myself or from our future guests, please feel free to drop in the comments. And I really enjoyed having this conversation with you, Vasu.
Me
Thank you
too.
so much for
Me
being
too.
here.